We are really in a historic moment right now in the conflict in the Middle East. We have seen phase one of the Trump administration brokered peace plan play out. All living hostages that were in Gaza are now released, and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and detainees are released back to Gaza. There still remains a lot to be seen when it comes to phase two and beyond of this peace plan. But to start off the conversation, what do you make of the moment that we're in right now?
Well, listen, I think President Trump deserves a lot of credit for stepping in here, taking advantage of Israel's, consolidating its military gains and, brokering a initial peace agreement. And I think it's very important to get these hostages back. It really puts an end to the October 7th massacre and allows, I think, is going to allow Israel to kind of move on, not move on from that, but move forward from it. Um, there's still a lot of questions to be answered, but we've had the release of Palestinian prisoners. We've had the IDF step back. There is now an opportunity for success for a successful transition away from Hamas in Gaza. Now, a lot of work has to be achieved for that to be successful, but there's at least a start here. And I think President Trump deserves a lot of the credit for leaning into Qatar, leaning into Israel, and leaning into the other Arab partners to get us to this point.
I want to talk about President Trump and what he said and the differences between his language versus Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's language. The night before the hostages were released, Netanyahu said that the campaign is not over and that Israel still faces major security challenges ahead. The following day, though, President Trump, in no uncertain terms, said this war is over. This is a historic moment. It's a historic dawn. It's a new chapter, essentially, in the Middle East. What do you make of that difference in language? Read the tea leaves for us.
So there's two aspects to this. One is every Israeli prime minister, but particularly Prime Minister Netanyahu, frames Israel as fighting a seven-front war. Iran, forces in Syria, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, IRGC proxy groups. It's seven total. And he's right. I mean, they've done a lot to weaken Hezbollah. They've done a lot to weaken Hamas. They've done a lot to weaken Iran. But they're still always in conflict with some of these radical Islamic groups. So, they have to maintain a high level readiness. So he's right in the sense that the war is never over. I don't believe it'll be a long time before we say the war is over for Israel in general, or the threat to Israel is over. President Trump was very specifically talking about Gaza. And in that sense, President Trump's right that we had turned a new leaf. Now, President Trump's going to have to stay very involved if he wants phase one to go to phase two, to go to phase three. And I will say historically, that has not been the United States, or particularly President Trump's long suit, to stay engaged on the problem in front of you in foreign policy. So we'll have to see what happens.
The world has really given President Trump credit for bringing this peace deal together. He had a victory lap in the Middle East earlier this week. He was met with such applause, especially when he was in Israel. I do want to read part of the peace declaration he signed along with leaders from Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt. This is what it said in part. Together, we will implement this agreement in a manner that ensures peace, security, stability, and opportunity for all peoples of the region, including both Palestinians and Israelis, and it committed to resolving further disputes, quote, through diplomatic engagement and negotiation rather than through force or protracted conflict. How do they do that?
So we'll see. I mean, it really is going to take a commitment from those same countries to put forces in Gaza to suppress Hamas. Because if Hamas is able to strike out and hit Israel in any way, shape, or form, Israel will strike back. Israel believes deterrence not by denial, but deterrence by cost imposition. Or punishment. So if you strike them, their way to stop you from striking them in the future is they strike you back harder. So I would say it is absolutely incumbent, particularly on Qatar and Turkey and Egypt, to ensure that Hamas truly is demobilized, disarmed, and does not have a leadership role in a future Gaza. And if they don't do that, Israel will come back, and I think Netanyahu's made that clear, and I think the president would allow it. He'll be frustrated, but he'd allow it.